What if I tell you, if Robinson Crusoe was a real person? Could you survive 4 years alone on a deadly island? The true story behind one of the most famous novels ever written is wilder than fiction. Imagine you are stranded on a deserted island, a place full of pirates and enemies. How long could you survive? Not just physically, but mentally as well. Could you stay sane? And if you were rescued years later, would you ever want to go back? This is the true story that inspired the world-famous character Robinson Crusoe. The real man's name was Alexander Selkirk. Many of us have read the book or watched the movies, but the truth behind the legend is far more fascinating. Let's dive in. Alexander Selkirk was born in 1676 in a small Scottish village called Lower Largo. He was the seventh son of a poor shoemaker. Scotland was independent back then, but things were politically unstable. Just a few years later, in 1688, a revolution would shake the kingdom. Growing up in this chaos, Alexander turned into a rebellious and troubled young man. He constantly argued with his family. His father wanted him to follow in his footsteps as a shoemaker, but Alexander had other ideas. After causing trouble in church, he was put on trial and sentenced. To escape this punishment, he made a bold decision. He joined the ship and signed up to become a privateer, a pirate with permission. Privateers were legal pirates, hired to attack enemy ships during wartime. Alexander loved the idea. At 17, he began raiding Spanish and French ships in the Mediterranean and Caribbean. He enjoyed the sea and lived the wild life of a pirate. By 1703, at 27, he joined a dangerous mission under a famous English privateer named Captain William Dampier. The expedition set off from Ireland with two ships, St. George and Cinque Ports. Alexander was assigned to the second ship under a strict and unpopular new captain, Thomas Stranding. Stranding was harsh and lacked leadership skills, and soon the crew was on the edge of mutiny. After a failed attack on a Spanish port in Panama, Stranding decided to leave for repairs. They stopped the remote island called Macetierra, today a part of Chile, but when the captain ordered them to sail again, Alexander objected. The ship wasn't ready. He warned them the ship might sink. Stranding didn't listen, so Alexander made a radical choice. He said he'd rather be left alone on the island than risk sailing. And in the end, the captain agreed, left with him few supplies, and sailed away. Alone on the island, Alexander had only few tools: a musket, a gunpowder, clothes, a Bible, a compass, some tools, and a few books. His clothes soon wore out, so he made new ones from goat skins using a needle he made from wire. He built a shelter from wood, branches, and grass. To deal with rats stealing his food, he tamed wild cats on the island. He read the Bible to stay sane. That book, he later said, kept his mind stable. The island was rich in resources: goats for meat, streams for water, wild fruits, and vegetables. Alexander believed a ship would rescue him soon, but days turned into the months, and then into the years. He didn't know it back then, but the ship he had refused to board actually sank. Most of the crew died, and the survivors were captured by the Spanish and jailed as pirates. Had he gone with them, he might not have lived at all. 4 years passed. He had forgotten how to speak properly, but his survival skills were impressive. He lived a routine life, hunting, gathering, making clothes from leather. Interestingly, he wasn't the first to be stranded there. A few years before, another pirate ship had left a crew member behind. When the captain returned, he saw a single fire and thought the man might still be alive, but it wasn't his crewman, it was Alexander. The captain wasn't sure he could trust this wild-looking man in goatskin clothes, but someone on the ship recognized Alexander and convinced the captain to rescue him. That person was none other than the Captain William Dampier we mentioned in the before, the man who led Alexander's earlier voyage. Thanks to him, Alexander was finally saved in 1709. Captain Rogers later wrote about finding him. He said Alexander looked wild, wore goat skins, and had forgotten how to talk even, but was strong and healthy. Alexander told them he had seen ships over the years, but none of them noticed his signals, except for one Spanish ship that tried to shoot him. Back at the sea, Alexander was made second in command. He proved incredibly valuable in battles. In 1711, he left the pirate life with 800 pounds, which is around 200,000 pounds today. He returned to England and lived comfortably for a few years, but the quiet life didn't suit him. In 1717, he joined the Royal Navy as an officer. Even there, he excelled, but he missed the chaos of the sea. He died at sea in 1721, like the Fromenins. In his final years, he often said he wished he could return to his deserted islands. And that is the true story behind Robinson Crusoe, a book translated into dozens of languages, sold to millions around the world. Fictional? Yes, but deeply inspired by the incredible real life of Alexander Selkirk. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and comment. And as always, stay safe. Until the next video.